All right, so I got a little tidbit of advice for all you entrepreneurs out there looking to set up your own business. I've recently been doing some reading. I just read a report published by Canada Post, and it talked about the spending trends for the various cohorts in our Canadian population. So the millennials, Generation X, the baby boomers, what are they spending their money on, and where are they spending it? And more importantly, what's predicted to happen in the future? I also just finished watching a very interesting interview on BNN. It was the founder of Joe Fresh, and he's also founded Club Monaco, I believe. Forget his name. But this is a guy with a lot of retail experience, right? And both the report and the video, they both talk about the future of retail in Canada. And they both have come to the same conclusion, which I personally share. Retail in Canada is an industry that's in atrophy, okay? It is shrinking at an unprecedented rate. And on the flip side, e-commerce is an industry that's growing at an unprecedented rate, okay? Year over year, we're looking at 30-40% growth in e-commerce. And look around you, stores are closing, okay? Brick and mortar stores. So as an entrepreneur, okay, you have a small budget, very little capital to spend. Don't sink that into retail, okay? Why aren't people going to retail anymore? Okay, let's think about this. Let's talk about this for a second here. For one, there's a lot of expenses associated with either owning a physical establishment or renting a physical establishment. Okay, you got to pay the rent. You got to pay property taxes. Okay, you got to pay people to physically be there to sell your product. Okay, or you got to be there to sell your product. In which case, it's your sweat equity. You know, you're putting in a lot of time into this. To have the equivalent online is going to cost you very little. Okay, you need to buy your domain name, which generally speaking, they're not very expensive. You need to pay a company like Wix or Shopify, or whoever your domain is listed with, the company that essentially builds and manages your websites and your payments and everything. But this is a fraction of the cost of owning a store or renting a store. Okay, so think about that. The second reason why retail is done is because there's way too many middlemen involved in the retail sales process. Okay, what do I mean by that? We have to go from the manufacturer, okay, he builds the product, stick it in a warehouse, then it goes to a wholesaler, from the wholesaler it goes to a Salesforce, and Salesforce to the retailer, from the retailer finally it goes to the customer, okay? That's a lot of palms that need to be greased along the way, too many, okay? With e-commerce, it goes straight from the manufacturer right to your customer. So that's going to save you a lot of money on the front end, and savings which you could potentially transfer to your customers on the back end when they buy the product, and that'll keep them coming back for more. And that's exactly why websites like Amazon are thriving right now. It's because everyone goes to Amazon because they want the best price, right? And they're getting it. You're also at a major geographical disadvantage if you decide to open up a brick and mortar store. And now what do I mean by a geographical disadvantage? I mean that whatever product it is you're trying to sell, you are limited to the population living in the immediate environment of your store, okay, in the immediate surroundings. So I live in downtown Toronto. Let's say I want to sell, I don't know, heavy metal music, all right? I'm making my own heavy metal music, and I want to start a record store that's dedicated to heavy metal music. I don't listen to heavy metal music. I don't know why. I just came up with that. Anyway. If I set up my store in downtown Toronto, guess what? The majority of the people walking into my store are either going to be living or working in downtown Toronto. However, if I put my products up on the World Wide Web, right, as the name implies, I'm no longer at a geographical disadvantage. Okay, so there you go. Those are 3 reasons why, as an entrepreneur, you need to think long and hard before you decide to invest in a brick and mortar store. Don't do it. Put your stuff up online, sell it directly to the customer, save yourself some money, save me some money as the consumer, and remember, becoming wealthy is not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep. That's all I got.